The Cardinals head to Colorado to face the Rockies. What a great time because the offense could use the jumpstart. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio and follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. Want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. You can always find us on YouTube as well. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment so you can interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode is being brought to you by Ultimate Baseball GM. If you've ever dreamed of becoming an MLB GM and managing your baseball franchise, then this game is definitely for you. To download the game, just visit ultimatebaseballgm.com or look it up on the app stores. Our listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On in the game. That's all caps, Locked On. So the Cardinals aren't playing the best baseball right now, are they? One day it's the offense, then it's the starting pitching, then there's a bad inning from a member of the bullpen, and all of these issues have led to a not-so-fun 3-6 start to the year. But wait, it gets worse because the Cardinals have won two. They ended up winning 2 of 3 from Toronto to start the season, and that means now, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games, which really sucks the fun out of things, doesn't it? And fans have every right to be discouraged. You can be disappointed. You can be upset, even angry if you want to be, and that's fine. It's your right as a fan to feel all of these things and express them how you feel fit. Some of our listeners like to vent to me on our Twitter account at LO_Cardinals, and I'm more than happy to be your baseball shrink if that's what you need me to be. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen. So let's roll through a few of these real quick after a not so great weekend in Milwaukee. Now, this particular one goes back to the Ollie Marmol, Tyler O'Neill issues from last week and what fans think Ollie or Tyler should have done, which we had an outstanding response on that particular episode. That was a lot of fun to talk to. And I love how everybody just kind of was like, well, I feel this way, I feel that way. And we all just came together and said that, you know what, it all kind of stinks all at the same time. Here's Homespun Covers. This is what he says or she says. I'm not quite sure. Managers should keep negative remarks behind closed doors, period. Why have a public soap opera in the first week? The fact that T.O. didn't start the next game should be enough evidence. And honestly, some fans appreciate Ollie calling him out in public while others were like this. I'm more of a conservative guy in nature, so I thought it could and should have been handled differently and should have been handled internally. That's just me. The reaction from T.O. when he heard what Ollie said didn't seem to sit so well with him, and he said as much that he thought he should have that all of this should have been kept private. I'm sure moving forward, things like this will be handled a little bit differently because I don't think the team or the front office enjoyed the distraction that it became. And clearly they've moved on from it because O'Neill's been in the lineup since. So it's not something that they're holding grudges about. His production, on the other hand, that's a separate issue because we've yet to see the guy that was playing for Team Canada, but at least he hasn't blown a hammy, right? That's a positive. Let's get some reaction from the weekend in Milwaukee where the team dropped 2 of 3. David Cobbler says, hey, JD, what frustrated me the most was the Cards could not string together any big hits to carry the game. Our offense has to score to overcome the lack of run prevention by the pitching staff. I'm just echoing what you stated, but it was obvious and frustrating. So that's my take as well. Well, thank you, David. As always, Cobbler, a guy who writes a lot to us here at Locked On Cardinals, and I appreciate it. I love the interaction. It's fantastic. Keep it up, David. But I mentioned what he brought up here in last night's episode, which, again, sorry it came out so late. I had to work in the morning. Then it was Easter stuff going on with the family. And then you had the game to watch. And then I had to put together a podcast, blah, blah. You don't want to hear excuses. But That one went out very late last night, so I apologize for that. But in case you didn't miss it, make sure you check it out. But I think we can agree that the pitching staff, it's not a staff that is going to normally give you 7 shutout innings like Montgomery did on Saturday. They're normally going to give up 3 or 4 runs in a game, and the bullpen is then expected to limit any more damage while the offense puts up the numbers that they're expected to put up. And that's the Cardinals' current formula to winning ball games. So when you face a top pitcher like Brandon Woodruff, which they did on Friday, they got locked down by him, or the way Peralta took it to him on Sunday. This team is going to lose more times than not when that happens. And I know we want the pitching staff to be better. I get that. But I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your butts and just go like, well, they should be throwing, 6 shutout. That's not reality. That's not reality at all. This is an average pitching staff at best in the major leagues. And when they're not at their best, and then the offense doesn't show up, it's going to be a problem. The offense has to show up, and in 2 games this weekend, they didn't. They just didn't get it done, and that's the bottom line. I called out Arenado and Contreras in the last episode for failing in big spots yesterday during Sunday's game. This isn't me not believing in those guys. Don't get it misconstrued that that's what I'm thinking. They're great hitters, and those are the guys you one up in big situations, but I'm not going to say, "Aw, shucks," either when they failed in those spots. I believe that those 2 guys, among others, like Goldie, I think most of the guys that are in this lineup are going to come through more times than not. I do believe that. They're a very good hitting team. But those 2 spots where they struck out were big moments. And when you fail, as they did, it needs to be pointed out. And that's what happened in Sunday's game. Pay It Forward says, something seems off to me in the clubhouse. I obviously am not in the clubhouse, but just seeing the team's demeanor, something just seems off. Not sure if it's them crashing back down from the Atlanta sweep or the drama between Marmol and O'Neill. Whatever it is, just doesn't look like the energy is there. Hopefully, when Nootbaar and Wainwright come back, it will provide a spark. Losing will make any team look like that. They will seem lifeless when you're losing. They appeared to not be having a lot of fun on Friday and Sunday, but yet Saturday, they were all over the place jumping around when they were winning. But when you're not hitting and when your offense is supposed to be the best part of your team, it's going to give off that vibe. When guys are on base, but you're not knocking them in. When you have your starting pitcher on Friday, Jack Flaherty, walking 6 guys, that's going to bring down the mood a little bit as well, because it's dull. It's boring. Guys are just standing around with their hands on their knees going, I can't do anything about this. I can't help him until he throws the ball over the plate. So that kind of adds to the lifeless look that you will see. And again, losing sucks. Losing is not fun. These guys aren't going to be high-fiving and smiling a lot when they're losing ball games, when you've lost 5 of your last 6, because that's not what this team is expected to do. I do think they miss Newt's energy. He's obviously the biggest cheerleader on the team. The aura, the energy that he brings, not only in the dugout, in the clubhouse, and at the top of the order, it's clearly missing. It's missing from this team. And same goes for Waino, who's, he's the father figure of the team and the rotation. He's the veteran captain that they have. He's the last one from the last era of great Cardinals teams. And I think he's sorely missed in the clubhouse as well. He keeps things loose. He's a fun guy. Luckily, both are on the mend and should be back soon, specifically Nootbaar, who could be activated as early as today on Monday. They're going to have him take some batting practice today. And if he's feeling good enough, they might activate him. Could happen. The offense has had a tough go recently and are headed to Colorado, which we've talked about for the next 3 games, which could help wake them up. So we're going to preview that series next here on Locked On Cardinals. If you love baseball and you love video games, then you could be my best friend, because that's kind of right up my alley. Also, you would love this game that I'm going to talk about. Ultimate Baseball GM combines your dream of being a Major League GM with the fun and enjoyment of a video game. At one point or another, you've probably thought you could do the job of John Mozeliak and be the Cardinals GM. Not as simple as it looks. I know we all think it is, but it's not. But now you got a chance to prove it. You'll be in charge of managing every strategic aspect of your team. You're going to play through the seasons, lead your team to glory, or you're going to get fired. It happens. You're going to be responsible for hiring the right coaches and the staff. You're going to manage the finances. You do the scouting. You do the drafting, free agency, the ups and downs of the season, and you're going to do it all in a challenging and realistic game world. And a great part about this, you don't have to pay anything. Ultimate Baseball GM is completely free and it's playable offline, which means you can play on the go as you want and when you want. Locked On Cardinals listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On. That's in all caps in the game store. So make sure to check it out. You can download the game by visiting probaseballgm.com. You can also scan the code, which is below. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see it below at the moment, or look it up on the app stores. Bunch of ways you can get your hands on it. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. Also being brought to you by Rocket Money. Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? I never do. I just keep signing up for things and throwing money away. Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions when the actual total is closer to $200. So if you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, you need Rocket Money. It's a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions that they absolutely forgot about. And chances are you're one of them, like that Stars app just to watch one show, or that free gaming trial that you never actually used and now they're charging you. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find these subscriptions for you. And for any that you don't want to pay for anymore, hit that cancel button. Boom. Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's just that simple. So stop throwing away your money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. The Cardinals are in Arenado's old stomping grounds for the next 3 days. They're going to be playing the Colorado Rockies, and maybe a visit to Coors Field is just what this team needs to kind of break out of this funk they're dealing with. And I know fans are frustrated. I get it. But I've pointed out to many listeners who have been tweeting at me, and I know this sounds lame and you're sick of hearing it, but it is very, very early in the season. You've got to have patience when it comes to the game of baseball. Last year, the Astros and the Phillies meet in the World Series, right? Philly was 4-6 after their first 10 games. They went 11-11 in April and then 10-18 in the month of May. So math, 21-29 over the first 2 months of the season. They go to the World Series. The Houston Astros were 11-11 at the end of April. They go to the World Series. It's not over, guys. Everybody just pump the brakes for a minute. And let's just see what else we can come up with for the rest of the month of April. Now, the Rockies are not a great baseball team. They're 4-6 to start the year. They won their first 2 games on the road over the Padres, which opened up a lot of eyes. But they've gone 2-6 since. They lost 4 in a row to the Padres and then the Dodgers, then split the next 4 against the Nationals, who are not a very good baseball team either. And obviously, if your offense needs a boost, then Coors Field is one of the best places in the league to go visit. The question is, can the Cardinals pitching staff slow down the Rockies enough to give the offense a chance to win these games? Because that's the real trick in Coors Field. You might be able to hit a lot and hit very, very well and put up a lot of runs. But the guys over there wearing the black and purple, the ball flies really well off their bats in Coors Field as well. So that's the real trick. Offensively, they're led by first baseman CJ Cron, who he was off to a really good start. Okay. I think it's Crone, actually. CJ Crone. He was off to a really hot start, but he's been out with flu-like symptoms since Friday. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs on the year already, but he hasn't been feeling very well. So we don't know if he's in the lineup yet at the time of this recording. They still have outfielder Charlie Blackmon, who's seemingly been there since the team was first born back in, what was it, the 90s? Like, he's been there forever, hitting .324 on the year, which does lead the club. Elihuris Montero might recognize that name because he was part of the deal for Nolan Arenado, hitting .313. The corpse of former NL MVP Chris Bryant is still swinging the bat for the Colorado Rockies. Last year, he hardly played because of injuries, but the former Cub so far has been healthy this year. He's batting .300. He's got 3 RBIs. In his career, he's hit 10 home runs and 49 ribbies against St. Louis, only hit .240 off them in his career, but obviously he's a guy we're always going to pay attention to because he used to be a Cub. Other names you might recognize that are on this team. Mike Moustakas is there now. Jurickson Profar. Ryan McMahon, He's on this squad still. Left-handed hitter. He's already struck out 15 times this season, but we've seen how far he can hit a ball. He ripped one last year, I believe it was. It was like one of the longest home runs ever in Coors Field history. So, familiar names on the roster, but not a great lineup by any means. But then again, anything can happen and normally does at Coors Field. So Steven Matz is set to get the ball tonight. And although he hasn't faced these particular Rockies hitters all that much, here are some of their stats against them, and it's not great. Charlie Blackmon is hitting .556 off him. Chris Bryant, 400 in just 5 at-bats. CJ Cron, 750 in 4 at-bats. Moustakas, 667 in 6 at-bats. And this one's really going to frighten you. So prepare yourself, Cardinals fans. In Matz's career against Colorado, he is 1-5 with an ERA of 7.22. But wait, it gets worse. In 3 starts at Coors Field, he's 0-2. His ERA is 9.20, and he's given up 4 home runs. Yikes. That is frightening stuff. And on the Cardinals side of things, against German Marquez, Goldschmidt owns this guy. Goldschmidt lights this dude up. Obviously spent some time with Arizona where he got more at-bats, but in his career is hitting .425 with 4 home runs and 8 RBIs off of him. That's in 40 at-bats. Arenado, not so much, just 167, does have a dinger and 2 RBIs. Wilson Contreras, 667 in 6 at-bats against Marquez. And Gorman is 2 for 6 with a dinger and 3 ribbies against him. So it sounds like we're going to have your normal pitcher's duel at Coors Field tonight, right? My click to pick this weekend. Now, Contreras let me down in Milwaukee. Didn't have the greatest weekend. So we're going to go with one of the young guys. Let's go. I'm hyped to see what Jordan Walker does in his first appearances in Colorado. 9-game hitting streak going on right now. Looking more and more comfortable every day. Give me some Jordan Walker over the next 3 games to be my click to pick. New power rankings are out. The Cardinals were at number 10 last week. How far did they fall? You'll find out next on Locked On Cardinals. Our new sponsor, So Rare, is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. And one of the good things about this, win or lose, you still own your cards. You don't lose your cards. And there's no cost to play, which is great as well. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance and collect increasingly powerful cards and accessing next level competition and rewards. You get to the top of the leaderboards, you can win all kinds of cool stuff. We've got a variety of rewards. How about some So Rare scarcity cards? That's great. Game tickets, free tickets to go see your favorite team. Merchandise, signed jerseys, VIP experiences like meeting MLB stars. Head to sorare.com/locked on if any of this sounds good. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/locked on to start playing today. MLB Power Rankings are out, and the Tampa Bay Rays jumped from number 11 all the way up to number 1 after starting the season 9-0, which is tied with the 0-3 Royals for the best start in the wild card era. So bravo to the Rays, right? But again, can I point this out that they beat the Nationals, the Tigers, and the A's? Okay, those teams stink. They stink. I'm curious how they're going to fare this week when they have to face some better talent. They're going to battle Boston and Toronto this week. So that's going to be a real test for them. If they can breeze through those 2 teams, then I'll become a believer. But I'm still kind of like, well, hold on a second. All right. Those other 3 teams are terrible. The Astros fall from number 1 to number 6. These are your biggest drops this week. Astros number 1 to number 6. Phillies from number 8 to number 13. And then the Mariners number 9. That's not really a number. Number 9 to number 14. So how about the Cardinals? They were at number 10 last week. They dropped 2 spots to number 12. So not much of a slide. And I'll tell you why. Because you may think, because a lot of people are down on them right now after a rough first week and a half, is that they don't deserve to be up there anymore. Well, they had to play the number 7 team in Toronto, the number 2 team in Atlanta, and the number 8 team in Milwaukee. That's a tough schedule. It's not an easy schedule. Tampa Bay, who just shot up to number 1 in the power rankings, had to play the number 28, 29, and 30 teams. The worst teams in the league. And they're all the way up to number 1. So they gave the Cardinals some credit for having a tough schedule to open up the season. They keep them at number 12. Cardinals going to have a chance to quiet some of the critics this week, and they better, because they've got the Rockies for the next 3, who is the number 27 ranked team, and then the Pirates, who are number 24, and they just lost O'Neal Cruz, arguably their best player. I mean, Brian Reynolds having a great start, obviously, but people love watching O'Neal Cruz play, and fractured ankle for O'Neal Cruz, and the last report was he's going to miss 4 months. 4 months. That's a huge blow to that team, who had a great start. They started off the season 6-3. So, in my opinion, Cardinals need to take 5 of 7 this week. Anything else than less than that, I kind of deem a failure. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Now, for your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Win your league by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy baseball knowledge possible. You can find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matz versus Marquez tonight in Colorado. First pitch, 7:40 St. Louis time. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube, and help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.